Hey, Tony Gaskins here. You know, I had shot a whole video. It literally was 59 minutes and 59 seconds. And I was uploading it, then I deleted it. I deleted it. And so that just go to show, I share that to say for the people who sometimes you question yourself and you don't know about content and if you should put it out. And I know it seemed like I just kind of put out whatever I'm thinking, but I question myself too. I don't watch my videos, but as I was playing it back in my head, I literally said to myself, I said, a lot of people ain't gonna understand it. They ain't gonna get it. It'll be, you might get 75% of it, but it'll be 25% that it'll trip you up and you'll miss the 75%. So the Lord always, he'll convict my spirit, and he'll say that they ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for that because it's levels to it, and you got to understand. And when you look around and you see videos and stuff, and you look at YouTube videos, you kind of start to see that you know God got to be with you to talk for an hour, or the devil got to be with you. Just depending on who call you. Some people call by the devil, some people call by the Lord. So now, if the devil with you, you can talk an hour. If the Lord with you, you can talk an hour. But y'all got to forget the light and all that. I'm just I'm here in my little area because my office still ain't done. But I realized that everything ain't for everybody, and I was just thinking, and I'm really having some revelations just on Christianity. You know, the role of not judging, meeting people where they are, helping them climb out of where they are to the next level, but understanding that it may be some steps in the way that may, to the outside, may look like you're going backwards, but really you're going through to get to, and being able to help somebody change their situation without making the situation worse, but without judging them for where they are and how they may be living, but helping them put one foot in front of the other, even though it may not be perfection, even though it may not be what you would do or what you're doing, as a believer in that moment, understanding that people at different places. And then also thinking about men and just our role and responsibility in the world and how we view women and how we look at women and how we judge women and how we see women as our opponents instead of as a teammate. And I was thinking about how it's so many women that follow me that are, escorts, or I saw a lady in the comments yesterday and she wrote porn star checking in here, and she's sharing something, a little story about, from a porn star perspective. And I was thinking about it, so many like exotic dancers and the models that have that post half naked and that follow me, and we as people sometimes judge them and put a label on them and say, oh, they this, oh, they that. And that's what we picture when you hear loose booty 901. But from what I found is that I've met more loose booty 901s that work in corporate America and wear business suits than I have loose booty 901s that is half naked online. And I went to thinking about how none of those women I could think of like blatantly shot they shot. Now some women say hey and be dressed, scantily clad, like an open-ended hey, which I could assume, but I would be wrong for even assuming because she literally could just be trying to see if I'm gonna respond before she asks her question or put her business in the streets. But I could be assuming and say, oh, she trying to holler at me, and I could be wrong. And I remember a long time ago, probably 2010, on Twitter I was building, and I had a rule that if you retweet me twice and I recognize the same face, I DM you, male or female, and say thank you for your support. And I remember I DM'd the lady one time, said thank you for your support, and she wrote back, I wish I could support you in other ways. As I dug deep on her page, I realized she was like an escort. And I responded to her, I said, no thank you, retweets are enough. And she responded and said, that was the nicest rejection I've ever received. And I was like, that was kind of like her shooting her shot or whatever, but not blatantly, not in a nasty way, but just kind of putting it out there if I was down for the cause. And I realized that was 10 years ago. And that's the only time since I've been out here. And I remember so many men have said to me, man, I know them women after you, man. I know them women be blowing your DM up. And I'm like, yeah, they do, asking questions for advice, but not saying like, hey, you this or that. I would love to sleep with you. I love to be with you. Hey, can you have a girlfriend? Can you have a friend? Do you and your wife want a girlfriend? Like, none of that. And I say, we put so much in men. We try to say all the time. So many men say, oh, women just as bad as men in that area. And a lot of women say that about women, but it's like, don't really know that. Don't really know that because you not a man. So you ain't been hollered at by no woman. And some women, oh, well, I saw a woman holler at my man. Yeah, it's out there. Yeah, it's happening. But it's not as common as we think it is. And I'm here to tell you because I'm a man and I'm out here. And I'm talking. And I'm a public figure. And so I start to realize and say, man, it's a different space in this world that men have to take, and we got to start leading by example and walking in love and setting a new precedent for our relationships and moving differently with our women, instead of judging them and putting them in a box and treat them a certain way or labeling them when they haven't even shown us the majority to be that way. And women got to stop hating on each other and see, a lot of times your man opened the door for that woman to be a temptress, and then her desperation kicks in, and she thinking that his relationship is broken or that he's single or that he's separated, and so she let him shoot his shot, and then she get engaged into it, and then now she doing her little nasty talk. He done deleted his messages, done left her messages. Now you find the message and you think that it's her. You think it's all her chasing your man when your man opened the door. So now you saying women is conniving, stinking scoundrels, and really it was your man that entertained it, that initiated, that started it, and that got it going. When if he hadn't opened his mouth to her, she wouldn't have said nothing to him. And I say that to say, now listen, I don't look like the back of a '67 Chevy, but and so a lot of men look like somebody stomped on their head. A lot of men look like bubble gum on the bottom of a shoe, and talk about women chasing them. Women ain't chasing you. That woman ain't chasing your man. It's like, yeah, you love your man because you know him and you done fell in love with him, but the next woman think he looks challenged. So the women he dealing with, he pursuing them. And then they giving him a chance and they ain't even know nothing about you. And then when they find out about you, he tell them that you a crazy ex that's stalking them. And he keep entertaining them, and now you thinking as a woman that every woman after your man. Now some women do know, and they find out that that a man got a girlfriend, and they stay in that place. But guess what? A woman can't stay in that place unless a man entertaining it. And a man saying, no, stay in this place, stay where you at. Stay right here. And that's where we as men, that's where we got to get better. That's where we got to grow. That's what we got to change. That light shine on top of my head, making me look bald head. I'm sitting here getting ready to call LeBron James hairline doctor. I'm like, well, hold on, now. Look like I ain't got no hair out there. I had to just change the lighting just so I ain't lost all my hair out there. And so I had to start realizing that Lord started to tell me, like, listen, this on you as a man. to be a better man, to see your woman purely. You got to see her purely first. If she vile, if she foul, if she is has been turned over to a reprobate mind, if she walking with the devil, she living a Jezebel lifestyle, let her show you that. But don't put that label on her, put that title on her, and treat her like that if that's not her. And you don't know that to be her just because one of these MGTOW red pill men and told you that all women is nasty and conniving and sneaky. You can't just put that on them because now you coming into the relationship treating this woman like an opponent. Now, y'all got to forgive me, this video is short because I'm already drained. I shot a whole hour video, but I really I ain't there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not there to the place to where I want to expose myself to too much critique and misunderstanding by people. Misunderstandment. All right, that's a new word. And put that in the dictionary, Webster. Expose myself to misunderstandment. We gonna use it for people who, is in a different place. So everybody in a different place. Everybody ain't ready for meat and potatoes. So, and although I know it's a lot of you, oh, we ready to just do the video for those of us, but as a content creator, it's just not that easy because you could get 99 messages of support and that one misguided critique can derail you and keep you up through the night. Because you don't want even one person to be led astray. You don't want even one person to be foggy. Now I could tell when a person comes just with a nasty spirit working for Satan, and they get blocked with a quickness. They get blocked. But sometimes people be genuinely confused and genuinely don't understand, and cause they on milk. They on milk. You gotta understand. Sometimes it's babies in the Lord and babies in their spiritual walk or in their change. So I had to scrap that video, and yeah, I could make it just for the blessed tribe, but it's people in the blessed tribe that's still, not ready for every aspect that or every revelation that the Lord gives me. And then it's a lot of people that's too heavenly minded to be any earthly good, and they'll hinder the progress and the process. And so what happens is I could say something and it could be a word for somebody, and then somebody who don't understand it because they see it differently, instead of doing a video on their page, they want to leave a dissertation for their doctorate in my comments. And then now the person who come to get the message that God gave me is left completely confused and bewildered by the person with the spirit of beg to differ in the comments. And I just knew that video I shot was just gonna have too many people in the spirit of beg to differ, and I ain't ready. I don't want to debate because I'm also still a little hood and I'm still a little ghetto. So at some points it may come out to where it's a collection of screenshots of stuff I say to people before I block them. And so I don't cuss or nothing, but sometimes I be like, mind your business, block. Go on your page, block. This ain't for you, block. Don't tell me what to do, Satan, get thee behind me, block. So it's a lot of people where they get a little piece of my mind, because the Lord's still working on me. The Lord's still working on me. I just ain't all the way there. So like I told y'all the other day, I turn the other cheek, but I be talking while I'm turning it now. Be going off on you while I'm turning the other cheek. So, but I want you to think about this and just think about who you judging versus helping. The people you judging, are you praying for them? Can they come to you and feel like it's a no judgment zone and feel like that you can help them grow and help them where they are. Meet them where they are and not tell them to go from fornication and living with somebody to moving out tomorrow and being completely abstinent. But can you help them wean off of that situation and create a plan of change, or a plan, an exit strategy? As long as their life is not in danger and they don't need to make a move immediately, can you help them where they are in a realistic way without judging them so much that they feel like the change is too drastic and it's too daunting to even undertake? Are you too heavenly minded to be any earthly good? And then as men, are you too broken, hurting, and confused and bitter to see women as your teammate instead of seeing them as your opponent? Can you love a woman purely despite her flaws, despite her imperfections? Can you love her as if she's perfect and build her up instead of break her down, and work with her instead of work against her, and allow her to be her and to flourish and to blossom and to bloom into who God called her to be, instead of trying to make her be who you want her to be? Instead of trying to control and dominate, can you allow her to be the creation that God made to be your helpmeet? And can you help her and be okay as a man walking in your righteousness, in your newfound beliefs, in your newfound revelation and understanding of who and what God called you to be as a man, despite what other men are saying about women and how other men are treating women and viewing women? Are you man enough to suffer the wrong even when your woman is flawed and her flaws may sting you or hurt you? Can you love her through that and help her grow and seek to understand her, then be understood by her? Or do you just expect her to be perfect and to accept your imperfections? Can you see her strength as strength instead of seeing her strength as a weakness in the relationship? Can you not allow her confidence to make you insecure? Can you not allow her strength to emasculate you when that's not her goal or what she's trying to do? She's just walking in her strength. Can you appreciate her strength and allow her to operate in her strengths without being intimidated or feeling threatened? And can you build with her as a man, allowing her to operate in her fullness, and you operate in your fullness without trying to suppress her, demean her, belittle her, control her? Can you suffer the wrong? See, Ephesians 5 say, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Christ suffered the wrong for the church. He sacrificed for the church. As a man, can you do that for your woman, or are you in competition with women? Are you hurting women out of fear that if you don't hurt her, she will hurt you? See, that's what we got to question as men. And that's where I'm at right now, in a few different spaces of, as a Christian, not being judgmental, but understanding where people at. Understanding if they on milk and not ribeye. Understanding if they need to take baby steps, because change don't happen in leaps and bounds. Understanding that it's going to take some time. Understanding that they may have to stay in that situation of living with somebody until they could save up to get first and last month's rent, instead of just expecting them to get up and go live in the shelter tomorrow just because you feel like they shouldn't be living with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and not seeing it with God's heart, and understanding that just because you sin differently don't mean that your sin is any less. So while they may be in sin in one way, you may be in sin for being judgmental or for being envious of other people who got a platform or a position that you don't have. So you sin differently, but yet you condemning the sin of a person that you could be helping and speaking into their life. And even if it takes 6 months for them to be able to get their footing to make a real change, so be it. And in the process, be able to pray for their safety, pray for their wisdom, pray for, their heart to be changed, versus judging and condemning and seeing them as less than you just because you've been going to church longer than they have. See, and that's women to women, men to women, men to men. That's believer to non-believer. That's saint to sinner. That's conservative to liberal, liberal to conservative. It's across the board. Like, how can we grow and evolve and stop fighting and bickering and judging and condemning, and start to help build? And especially men building instead of breaking down women, and men accepting responsibility for the mantle that God has given you, instead of holding women to a standard that you don't hold yourself to as a man. Instead of expecting perfection from a woman, but then wanting her to be okay with your imperfections. How do we change that as men? It's a decision. It's a choice. It's a renewing of your mind, a renewing of your heart, a renewing of your spirit. And I got to get going. I'm about to tired. now. God bless you. We'll talk soon.